Good morning, everybody. We'd like to welcome you back to Kimberly's Truth, her fight for justice. We're going to talk about the evidence, a little bit of evidence today, and we're going to try and show the viewers some of the evidence. Although there is too much to show all of it, we will be showing you some. Also, we're going to continue talking about the aftermath of when Kimberly went off from work up until today, her fight for her Canada Pension Disability, her fight for an ongoing fight in appeals court with, and now it's going to the Human Rights Tribunal with the WSIB. So I'm going to let Kimberly take over. We're going to talk a little bit about the evidence, and again, we want journalists to know and the public to know we've reached out to have Kimberly's story put out there, but there's just so much detail that you can't fill it in a W5 1-hour episode or a Dateline. So I mean, it would have to be a series of episodes, and I don't know anybody out there that's willing to do that. But if there is, contact us.
Yeah, for sure. My lawyers actually had, I don't want to say journalist, whatever he is. I believe he was from Los Angeles, reached out to my lawyer and sent a really appealing email naming some of the biggest movie stars, and that they were very interested in doing a documentary on our case, and again naming some pretty big movie stars in this email and everything. And we actually met with him through Zoom meeting and everything, and there's a lot of detail in my story, and all of a sudden you go from working with big movie stars to just disappearing, saying my story is too big. So we're doing our best to get it out there. There needs to be a change in the system, and like I said, we're willing to answer any questions. So
we're willing to have a sit down with anybody and let you tell your story.
Yeah, I think it's very important because I'm still sitting here fighting for the system. Whereas I'm just going to speak with true honesty now. There's been so many people that have looked at my story and the evidence I have and said, if that was anybody else, Kimberly, they likely wouldn't be here today. Because people can't afford to lose their homes. They can't afford to spend the money it is to fight the system. And
to fight for justice. Well, it cost you $45,000 at one point in 2010. You contacted a lawyer and they did nothing. They didn't even file a statement of claim. They had all your evidence, and it cost you $45,000.
Yeah.
And it was another lawyer that advised you that, whoa, stop paying us.
Yeah, because
nothing's being done. So you did, you get ripped off, and they take some. It sounds to me they took it that person took advantage of the fact that you were so geared up to fight for justice, and you just wanted to be heard, that they took advantage of that, and that's just wrong. Just morally, it's just wrong on every level.
Oh,
so I mean, you've been in the fight for so long, and there's just so much to this.
Well, and the thing is, Carrie, it's a really good point, because you talk about I get thrown under the bus now, for better terms, about time limits, and time limits are a factor now in fighting the system. Well, time limits shouldn't play a factor, because I made every attempt. I went to my bosses at every level. I wrote to the Attorney General 3 times. I wrote to the OPP. OPP actually was nice enough to write me back. And I have the letter. I have a copy of the letter right here. So, what does somebody do when
you run out of options?
You run out of options. You're not breaking the law because you don't want to go that route. You don't want to take your life because you don't want to go that route. But what does somebody do? I think it's a great question to ask, because now I'm being told time limits are a factor. Well, if you look at the history and with the steps I've taken, time limits shouldn't play a factor in this.
Well, it shouldn't play a factor because for many, many years, Dr. Frey denied treating you. So when you did find out it was Dr. Frey, it was in 2021. So, and you had a lawyer, and you were going to go after Dr. Frey, and then the timeline was missed according to the lawyer. So there was a whole lot, and then eventually you just, you know, you went to the college. The college is now dealing with Dr. Frey, and we'll get into that email, like what the college said about they are disciplining Dr. Frey. So you did win at least one that, like, you know, the complaint went through, which is a little bit of consolation, but not a lot. But because there's still a whole lot to your story that hasn't been dealt with. So, and I mean, we are going to talk about the representative from Peel in your WSIB who went at you personally.
Yeah.
You know, didn't have the balls to actually ask you about what evidence you had sitting beside you, and tore you apart in at the very end when she summed up her case. She tore you apart, making you sound like you were crazy and paranoid and just a person that filed complaint after complaint and nobody listened to or got sick of listening to. So she was pretty nasty in that. And you know,
but this is coming from the same service. You hire somebody and you're bringing up stuff about me writing to the Attorney General. This is some of the stuff that she was bringing up in her thing, and we'll get into that.
And that started back.
But you're bringing that up, but you guys have shown nothing to try to silence me, yet there's been cases that have made the media of other individuals in professions, and I don't want to start saying names, like the audience can do their own research, that have ended up 6 feet under because their employees or their employers ignored them. So, like, what does somebody do? Like, here's the letter. This was in 2010. I don't have my glasses on, but I believe the OPP, when I wrote to them, so I had went to my bosses, then I started going outside and I had contacted the Human Rights Tribunal. I wrote to the OPP. I attended the RCMP's office. OPP was actually nice enough to write me back.
And this was to investigate Dr. Frey.
Investigate the harassment, like my house being broken into. Like, I had told them everything. And here's the letter that was one of the ones that was ignored. So this, I'm going to be a little bit over here because it's kind of just summing up my story here a little bit for now. This individual was the same individual. I took a screenshot and I printed it just to, I'm trying to hide the name, had reached out to me after my story went national. She was the same staff sergeant that was in the locker room in Ottawa who witnessed my locker open and told me to go to my bosses and had said, I'm not sure why they're doing this to you. So you admit it, you've observed my locker being open, but nobody stands up. So October 15th, 2021, after my story goes national, this person reaches out to me and says, Kimberly, it's so-and-so. I'd love to talk to you, so much in common, and your story matches mine. So now this individual is going through the same thing that I'm going through, but now she's an inspector. So that's that. I took a screenshot of, this is when I had reached out to my inspector in IA of Peel when I was being accused of being that vantage point. And because I don't know anything about computers, I had reached out to him the same time I was heading to Sarnia Police to file a complaint, because I was concerned that somebody had copied my identity, or was using my identity to be disadvantaged. So I said, hey, so-and-so, it's Kimberly, are you free for a quick call? It's very important. Calls me back and we talk as I'm walking into the police station of Sarnia to file a complaint. And then later on, actually, this is the same individual that I contacted, and we had made arrangements for April 27th at 2 p.m. My lawyer and I.
Yeah, and we had talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I have the emails for that as well. I have everything. So we offered to voluntarily turn over my stuff. I had already filed a complaint with Sarnia, just in case somebody had taken my identity. Sarnia, please. actually went through my phone and seen the conversation between me and this Vantage Point. I was asking them who they were. So there's a lot. Like, I voluntarily handed them my phone. They would have seen it.
And again, if the audience remembers, we had talked about this specifically in the episode prior.
Yes. So then this is the complaint I had filed with Ottawa Police about the staff sergeant who made a frivolous call to my service. We talked about that. So I filed a complaint and I got a confirmation that we can confirm receipt of your email with professional standards in regards to so-and-so. Once assigned an investigator within the police, within this office, we will be reaching out with you directly regarding next steps to this process. Take care.
Let's be clear, that individual was from Ottawa Police Service calling Peel Service.
Yes. So
in what year?
2022.
So how long has it been since you were in Ottawa?
A long time.
Exactly. So
yeah,
you know, at the time, it just.
And that's in regards to them. Oh my God, them calling. But this was after. Like, it's so confusing now because this is after
the obstruction of justice.
The obstruction of justice. And now she's trying to discredit me because this staff sergeant's part of the girls group chat I had turned over to that defense lawyer.
And you knew you had the USB.
Oh yeah, and she knew I had the USB. So this is the email from she's a sergeant with Ottawa Police, saying that once an investigator is assigned, that they'd get back to me. Well, let me tell you, that I never got a call back. I actually followed up myself, and then a staff sergeant had emailed me saying that they never received a complaint.
Yeah.
So I have that email
and
as
your
well.
association is well aware too, because your association was not impressed at all with this.
No, because my association actually, my rep, like I said, they've been amazing. They actually emailed my lawyer to say, after they spoke to that staff sergeant and said, I speak to her regularly, she's fine. Then because they knew she was trying to discredit me now, they had emailed my lawyer to say what she had done. So,
yeah.
When they took my phone, when they seized my phone
in the warrant,
I had already taken some screenshots for my lawyer with me in this Vantage Point account because we were trying to find out who it was. And this was March 13th, 2022, because I think some of the messages and the conversation, because they had actually reached out to some of the people that were involved in my harassment. And so I took some of the screenshots and sent them to my lawyer. So
and let it be known that those messages no longer are on that phone that was returned to Kimberly.
No.
From Ottawa.
So the only conversation after 2 years, after they seized my phone and all my electronics, the only message that was the message thread that was missing was the conversation between me and Vantage Point, the one account that I'm being accused of being. So again, I ask anybody who's good with electronics, please help us identify this account. But this is only some of the screenshots I had taken and sent to my lawyer because I was trying to ask them who they were.
And then let's be honest, the reason the Vantage Point keeps coming up is because that was one of the reasons they used to get the warrant.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not because Vantage Point was doing anything criminal on X or Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, X, however you want to say it. But it was mainly because they said, Vantage Point, she was this account. And they even lied and said they ran analytics. And we know they lied because we know Kimberly's not Vantage Point.
Yeah.
So this is why it keeps coming up. It's not because it was anything criminal that Vantage Point was doing. Let's just put that out there. But they seem to know an awful lot of information with regards to Ottawa Police.
Yeah.
And you can probably still see a lot of that information on X, because I'm pretty sure Vantage Point's account's still there.
You probably. I don't know.
I know I've read through.
But, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's there, but it's actually kind of funny because I took a screenshot of one of the things. And they had said, this Vantage Point account said that they were out for justice and they will speak the truth and everything. Well, they're not speaking the truth because
they're letting you take
me take the fall for this account. But really, from what I seen, they weren't doing anything criminal. So if you're really out for truth and justice,
Show yourself.
Show yourself. Why aren't you stepping forward? And if truth be known,
but the question is, throughout this whole thing, no one has stepped forward. I mean, we've got behind the scenes where people send you messages, which we're going to talk about. But no one's literally come forward and said, hey, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you did get one text from one sergeant from Peel that was made public about your case.
Yes.
But then after you filed the obstruction of justice, that individual turned on you and then started filing a lot of defamation.
Oh, yeah.
Or not filing, putting it out there for the whole world to see.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm going to read those texts, but so when a complaint was filed with Peel about the text, and I had showed them the text.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Peel cleared her.
Yeah.
So, but yet they got workplace harassment policies.
The texts, the defamation and the slander came out 2 days. Was it 2 days?
2 days
after they received their badge back for being suspended for social media.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, you know, like.
And we're not talking about anything that this person didn't make public. So here's the email that I had sent to my inspector and we confirmed receipt of the meeting where I was going to voluntarily turn over my stuff to prove I was in Vantage Point. And at the same time, we had filed the complaint about some of the stuff that was being posted on social media using my full name after I had given that defense lawyer the chat group for the women. And because of the obstruction of justice, I didn't want to be a part of it. And that's the only reason I had done it.
Yep.
So here's just
first read the supportive text.
Okay.
We have to read that one first. It's so
it's actually pretty good.
We won't say their name.
No, I have so much stuff here, and I apologize that I'm taking my time to go through it.
Because there's lots.
There's lots, and this is only some that I printed out.
And these are all like copies,
Yeah. Actually, it might be on my.
It's on your phone.
Yeah,
I think you read it on your phone. In the meantime, going through all her evidence, I've gone through all of it with her. I've seen everything firsthand, and it just floors me that nothing was ever done about this when it started. And I just hope that this can bring about some closure. And I think it's extremely emotional for Kimberly, and even for myself. I mean, to sit here and go through everything. And sleepless nights, up in the middle of the night, your brain's constantly going. We're just trying to remember everything and talk about everything for you, and we're realizing that there's also stuff we forgot to mention. But I mean, we're not going to talk about it now because we've already, it would take us days of information. Like
let's be honest here.
So much. We don't have the time.
We have to pay. Well, I have to pay to have this edited and cleaned up, and so we can post it social media. So this is another financial cost for me. So I'm doing my best to get as much as I can out there, but the 4 sessions so far is basically all I can afford, because it's taken me, and I say that because they've cut back my pay to long term, and I'm only getting 60 or 60 something % of my pay. So it's always a fight, and it's always something.
A fight financially.
Yeah.
It's definitely constant battle every day when you get up. And I mean, not only are you battling the finances and the whole aspect of the emotional toll, and we both suffer from PTSD. So when we talk about this, I get reoccurring nightmares after at night, so it's hard to sleep. Kimberly's up half the night because it's hard to sleep. So there's a whole lot of emotion involved. And when we're done an episode and I mean, this is about her and is still as emotional for me, we're exhausted after we talk about this stuff. So it's a very emotionally draining on us both, more so Kimberly, because this is her story. So we just want the audience to know that, again, we do suffer from PTSD, and it is difficult to talk about this stuff because a lot of stuff, it's emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found that.
So after my story had went public, this was on July 1st, 2021. This was posted by a sergeant within Peel. And again, it's public, so I'm not saying anything that's not.
Oh, yeah.
It says, Peel Police, Kimberly Carteret. Please take the time to search this on YouTube or pull up the article. This isn't a joke. This is for real. What is happening behind the scenes in policing to hide corruption, sexism, misogyny, racism, homophobia. Those on Peel Police know that Kim's reputation was that you need to stay away from her. She was the problem. Take a look at reality. Stop being sheep. Stand up. And this was by a sergeant with Peel.
That's the same sergeant now that was part of a chat group.
Yeah.
Then Kimberly went to the lawyer, provided them the chat group to show obstruction of justice. Then the next texts that come out on the social media.
Yeah, and talking about malicious smear campaigns by a PW who was in a support group, chat for police women victimized in workplace, called me a sexual predator enabler using my full name. Even at one point, let's be honest here, there was a LinkedIn account where she has no clue who you are.
No.
And she's speaking to you about me, downgrading me. And I've got even other people that she's spoken to, and they're sending me screenshots of the text messages. So I sent them all into my service and showed and we won't get into too much detail, but the service eventually cleared her.
And again, there's a statement of claim on this, so anybody wants to read the statement of claim that's filed, it's all public, so go ahead and research it.
But again, and then she had even posted about, she took her badge and
took a picture of it.
Yeah, took a picture of her badge and posted it on social media and says, "Today I received my badge back. I worked very hard to become a police officer. I strived to be a servant leader and was promoted to sergeant in 2016. 5 years fighting for my HR. In that time, diagnosed, treated, and beat cancer. Suspended August 2021 for tweets. I am free from any discipline." So when she had posted about me, she'd already been on suspension for her social media. So the service will suspend her for talking bad about the service,
but not about a fellow
officer. And that's where my
female officer,
my association rep was a little disheartened by the decision, because he was, I guess disheartened is a light word, because he says people have been charged under the Police Service Act for a lot less. And she had already been on suspension, so she had a history. So here's just some screenshots. The one female that both her and I were being accused of being that vantage point, and this is only some, I have everything. I had asked her, I actually contacted my lawyer to contact her lawyer.
I think we talked about
that
also, so we're
not going to get into that, but I just want to say that, when I had asked her personally for the messages that were being sent to her, and she had said she deleted them. So why would you delete them knowing that you could help me?
And you were nice enough to say, "Hey, look, I just had a warrant done on my house because they accused me of being Vantage Point."
Yeah.
And you called her to let her know, "Look, this might be coming your way too, because they were accusing you of Vantage Point." So let's be clear, you tried to help her, but she didn't in turn help you.
Yes.
So we're just gonna put that out there.
So I'm just gonna read one of the emails that went public on social media off that USB.
Yes, and we're not going to give you a lot of details about that USB.
No, but this has caused a lot of concern, and this is what caused that same inspector to call me, because a superintendent from Ottawa Police had contacted her. And I recorded this conversation. I don't know why I recorded it, but for some reason, I'm glad I did. But a superintendent from her had reached out and wanted to know who she gave that USB to. So it says, "Dear Chief Slowly," and I'm only saying this because it went public.
Yes.
I am a former OPS officer, married to a serving officer, and I have very recently discovered learned of circumstances that are a significant risk to the organization. There is reason to believe that my spouse is linked to criminal activity involving organized crime, and I understand that there may be ongoing related investigations. However, new information is now elevating, I don't have my glasses on, safety concerns for both OPS as well as my family.
Now, OPS being Ottawa Police Service.
Yes. So when she had called me, that's when we had talked about the harassment, and this is the same one that had reached out to me saying that my story is similar to yours. So now she's going through similar. And actually, after this was posted,
What's the date on that?
this was posted on February 2nd. So right after, that's when she had called me and said, Superintendent so-and-so, I know all the names, had contacted her and wanted to know who she gave the USB to. And that's when we talked about the harassment I had faced, and she had said that in her 30 years of policing, it's some of the worst she's ever seen.
And this individual that posted that letter on their social account.
Yes, actually, an inspector
reached out to
from Ottawa had reached out to this individual and said, how did you obtain that? They being Ottawa Police, and how we're trying to bury it, and that came from an inspector. So this was in 2021. An officer from Ottawa had reached out to me, somebody that I was close with, and we talked for an hour and 48 minutes, and he had called me to apologize for not listening to me when I was crying to him in Ottawa about the harassment, and that he was now going through the similar. And so that's just that. Some more text messages. And one in particular I want to get to, and then we'll start talking about WSIB. An individual from Ottawa had contacted me and wanted to meet, so we met in Belleville, Ontario. And this individual had showed me a chat group with members of Ottawa Police, ranking officers at that, and allowed me to take pictures of this chat group because there was conversation about Dr. Frey and
what year was that?
This was right after my story went public. So this individual had reached out to me. So we met in 2021 in Belleville. So the conversation had taken place right after my story had went public. Oh no, I'm not going to read all the text, but it actually talks. I won't read out all the text, but it talks about how Dr. Frey and Vern White, who was the chief at the time, were known to each other. Frey was known to Chief White back then, so they had a friendship and connection. They had worked together before. And again, these are all ranking officers. They talk about, one of them in particular is how there's a lot of questions not answered here. And one of them had said, why did it take so long to come out? Well, I'm going to answer that to you right now, because it took so long to come out because we're doing this now. I tried to do it respectfully and stay behind the scenes, and I kept going to my sergeant, my staff sergeant, my inspector. I went all the way to my Chief Vern White, and that's when I had offered to resign. And instead, I was sent to a doctor. So coming out, I never stopped.
They even talk about your gun, eh? At the time your gun was removed from your locker. So there's quite a bit of, a little bit of information in these texts.
Yeah. They had even talked about how they said that civilians, they said something stinks here, because they said civilians don't get involved. Well, it was 2 civilians that had contacted me, and I met with them at Lone Star on St. Laurent, and they're the ones that told me that my gun was being taken out of my locker as we speak. Well, in these text messages, in this
Maybe
conversation,
you can just read that line.
that, yeah, they said civilians don't get involved with that.
Well, nor should they.
And, it just says that no matter how you slice it, something definitely stinks here. And that civilians don't get involved, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. But this conversation is actually pretty interesting. So if a journalist ever really wanted to get involved and see all this, I have, and I could put it on. We're just kind of rambling, trying to throw some stuff out there.
Throw as much as we can.
As much as we can. But it's quite interesting how you got white shirts sitting there saying that civilians don't get involved in that. And actually, even in that chat, they talk about how when the story went out, Vern White actually reached out to Dr. Frey. And the one lady says that it was confirmed that Vern White reached out to Dr. Frey. So
Something stinks.
something stinks.
Okay, so now you still are waiting for a date again for WSIB
Yeah.
to go to the Human Rights Tribunal, the appeal.
So the
resolution.
WSIB, they denied me. We asked them to reconsider. They denied me again, despite the several doctors' reports, psychologists, psychiatrists, everything saying she will not go back to work. They've even addressed some of the stuff that I've gone through, and there is no chance of me returning to policing.
Oh gosh, no.
So you got several doctors' reports, but yet WSIB's denied me.
They know better.
We asked them to reconsider. They denied me again. So then the lawyer, my association has hired a lawyer, and we went to the appeal July of 2024. And I think that was probably one of the worst experiences of my life, because I put my heart out there. I was so honest, even about stuff that I had never spoken about. And I was denied again. And I think how it was handled, and you get a service that says they support their employees. I only wish, and I welcome the public. I welcome the public. If there's any way you can get into these hearings, you have my permission, because I think it's important to see the lengths that the service will go to in fighting that you don't get your WSIB. And I think that my appeal in July 2024 was very much proof of that. And we'll talk about that. I'll let you speak a little bit.
So there's a news release called Ontario Investing in Mental Health Training to Support Police. Okay, so they're going to be coming out with a training stream to support innovative project that will train approximately 160 peer support workers to provide better mental health supports to thousands of police officers across Ontario, including over 2,000 officers in Peel Region. So the total investment in the skills development training, it's nearly 1.1 billion. So the reason I'm reading this is because Chief they call him Chief Nish.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to use his short form, just because I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. He's Peel Regional Police. Peel Regional Police appreciates...
He's Peel Regional Police Chief.
Yes. Peel Regional Police appreciates the Government of Ontario's investment into supports for first responders. We are pleased to participate in initiatives that support our members' mental health and well-being, and to contribute to the work that Keel Digital Solution Mind and Get Ahead are doing. The investment through the Skills Development Fund will support their ability to develop an accessible platform for police services to better support their members. So he's publicly announcing how he supports the members. Then we have the chair at Peel Region, Nando Iyananika, I guess. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, so sorry if I mispronounce.
And this is all public.
yeah, like it's definitely, it's on a news release.
Yeah.
So the investment in mental health support through the Skills Development Fund is an important step for Peel. This initiative will enhance the mental well-being of those who serve and protect our community. That does include, and did include, Kimberly. By leveraging artificial intelligence and digital platforms, the project ensures personalized and efficient mental health care, significantly benefiting thousands of police officers and civilian employees, as well as their families. So this is important because when Kimberly went to her WSIB appeal in front of the appeals judge, there was some things brought up. So by WSIB, by the lawyer, the appeal representative, and it says the employer's representative's position. So some of the things that they said in here.
Well, they talked about even the letters back in 2010.
The harassment.
But if you look at from those letters that I wrote to throughout that time from when I came back in 2012, because I was off again, they put me off. Look at all the awards I've won. Look at all my performance reviews.
Everything was glowing.
Everything was glowing. I've won community awards. I've won, all my performance reviews are.
And that's despite all the harassment, the mental health concerns with PTSD, the trauma. And they're trying to, so they agree that in here, they're agreeing, the appeals judge agrees that yes, she has met the necessary criteria for the presumption of PTSD listed under policy 150313. So they want to know, now they got to rebut that. So it's only approved if there's no rebut. So now, basically they're saying that PTSD entitlement may be in order for an employer's decisions or actions that are not part of the employment function, such as violence or threats of violence, or conduct that a reasonable person would perceive to be egregious or abusive. So we've already proven that Kimberly feared for her life.
Yeah.
Backup didn't arrive in the form of a sergeant because he was too far away.
And that was only one occasion.
And they twisted all this. So when she did her due diligence and responded to a call, which is her job, because if she did not respond to that call, she would have been in trouble, with or without backup. She went to that call, texted her sergeant was too far away. Two staff realized, holy crap, she's gone to this call, so we better get our butts there. So no, you can't turn that around and say, well, two staff did respond. Well, they didn't respond right away. Her life was in danger. She didn't have backup. There was fear. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off, because I love it when somebody bastardizes and twists facts when they know shit about policing. They know shit about use of force. They know shit about the friggin' fear and trauma that officers face. And when you get someone from WSIB has zero credentials as such as a case manager that determines that, oh, we're going to deny this because they've twisted everything around, instead of taking the doctor's diagnosis at face value, she'll never return to work. What else? So they're trying to say that trauma, you have to experience it firsthand. Bullshit. You can experience trauma just by somebody telling you about their trauma. Experiencing the death of a baby through the words of the mother that got their child and spread it all over the walls, and having to deal with that individual when she's still going through her psychosis. I have been there in a jail when we've had to deal with inmates that are going through psychosis. I know what that's like. So if I was Kimberly that morning dealing with that individual who's describing what was done to their child, that is trauma. Okay? And as a correctional officer for 20 years, we don't like to be vulnerable, and neither do police. Because can you only imagine what an individual would go through at the hands of their bosses, at the hands of their peers, to show a vulnerability, and we all can admit that. And this is what really pisses me off, because there's a lot of police officers and there's a lot of correctional officers out there that don't like to show vulnerability. We see it as a sign of weakness, and we get preyed upon if we show that weakness. And Kimberly experienced that trauma. But according to this representative from Peel and the case managers involved in her case, no, that's not trauma. Then they talk about harassment. Well, harassment, there's a lot of criteria that needs to be met for harassment. And guess what? She meets every single criteria. Every single criteria. The definition of harassment: improper conduct by an individual that's directed at and offensive to another individual in the workplace. Well, there's the sexual harassment Kimberly suffered at the hands of more than one. And I mean, she wasn't even on the force a year when she was getting a text from a sergeant, "Oh, I like what I see." Well, good for you. You don't need to tell me. So there's that. Then she was getting letters. She was getting placed in positions where a sergeant was following her to where she worked in her divisions at Peel. Had no business being there. So we've got that. And it says, including at any event or any location related to work. So the first text was at the bar when you guys were all out socializing, and you don't drink. You only went to go and socialize to get to know your fellow peers.
I was new to the platoon, so I was trying to go and...
Don't we all, right? We all do that. And the individual knew or ought reasonably to have known would cause offense or harm. Well, it did. It comprises objectionable acts, comments, or displays that demean, belittle, or cause personal humiliation or embarrassment. What else happened to her at the airport when her fellow peer, not even a sergeant, screamed in her face, got in her face to the point where fellow officers feared for her safety, along with her fearing for her safety, thought that the guy was going to punch her and hit her. Then she was at we call them musters. And she, in front of all her peers, was the only individual pointed out to leave the room. So there you go. Intimidation or threat, embarrassment, humiliation. Do you think an officer with her low ranking at that time wouldn't be embarrassed and humiliated in front of her peers? And then being threatened by another officer to the point where other officers wanted to intervene because they were afraid she was going to be punched. And then she wasn't even allowed to leave her workplace after being threatened. So, I mean, there's a whole lot to this. And I mean, the fact is, when people can't open their eyes and see clearly, there's a problem. This is a real problem with getting justice within your police departments. And not only that, it's a real problem within WSIB. Because, I firsthand experienced WSIB twisting, literally taking a sentence quote from my therapist and bastardizing it to the point that it benefits them in their decision.
Well, I'm going to say something to that, because you got therapists that are even saying, like, they try not to put too much in a report because WSIB and it gets twisted. So you have actual therapists saying that.
Yes. And then it goes on to say that more specifically, and yes, under the Human Rights Act, it talks about race, ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, disability, and pardon conviction. So that's also part and parcel. More specifically, harassment is normally a series of incidents, but can be one severe incident which has a long-lasting impact on an individual. Series of incidents. Kimberly's house was broken into.
I have police reports.
Yeah, she has police reports. Her house was broken into by 3 individuals. No one investigated that.
More than once.
So her safety, again, she's feeling threatened, actually to the point where she had to go out and get protection dogs. That's where two of them came in. Then, not only that, her gun locker, she's walking into work, her gun locker's wide open.
Yeah.
She's being
more than once
and sexually harassed going throughout all this. So this has all happened not just once, it's a repetition, and it went through years and years of from OPS Ottawa Police Service, to Peel Regional Police Service. So it's repetition. It's harassment consists of repeated and persistent behaviors towards an individual to torment, undermine the report from Dr. Frey, calling out her paranoid, frustrate or provoke a reaction from that person. How many times did that happen? It's a behavior that with persistence pressures, frightens, intimidates, or incapacitates another person. Kimberly ended up going off work because of stress and stress-induced medical conditions as well. Each behavior viewed individually may seem offensive. It is the synergy and repetitive characteristics of the behaviors that produce harmful effects. But, this didn't happen.
Can I just interrupt here, Carrie Ann? I just want to say one thing. So this was actually posted even after the sergeant from Peel had posted this. This was posted on Twitter underneath my story when my story went public in 2021, and it says, I don't know who this individual is, but they said, I have friends that work on both Kim's departments. I would not suggest that Peel is innocent in this investigation. I am hearing she was badly defamed when she switched services. Peel officers were told lies about her coming from a trusted and cooperative friend. But then you have a sergeant who just basically confirms that and admits that people were known to stay away from me and everything. So imagine the work environment I went into.
Well, I can't imagine. So even for us in corrections, our biggest support are our peers. We respond to an emergency. You want that backup. That backup is sometimes your lifesaver, right? In most cases. So if you feel threatened by your peers and you feel that lack of trust that your peers are going to be there for you, that instills all of these insecurities. You don't want to conduct your job the way you used to because you're putting yourself at risk and you don't know if anybody's going to support you. So this is where you spend 17 years in policing, thinking when you transferred to Peel, and you were extremely transparent with everything with Dr. Frey. Oh, it's a new start here. Well, no, it wasn't a new start here, because it's like corrections too. When they perceive you to be anything but normal per se, or they perceive you to be a rat, or they perceive you to be a bully, or they perceive you to be a micromanager, or they perceive you in any way that's negative, we all know, and there's not one person, and if they deny this, they're a freaking liar. It follows you. It'll follow you to all Maplehurst. It'll follow you to Central East. It'll follow you all around the province, because let me tell you, when I was on a secondment, and there was a call that said, all the sergeants walked out and the only person that wouldn't support them was Carrie Ann. I was in this institution running it on my own. Good Lord. That was the most far-fetched thing I ever heard. And it was spread by an individual in my workplace. It was pretty bad when I go to help another institution out with their use of force reports and have to come back to standing at a muster and telling the staff, whoa, that's not true. And anybody that knows me knows I would support. So, you know what? I get it. And it's very upsetting to me to have to sit here and justify what Kimberly went through when they know full well what she went through. She checks off every criteria for harassment. And not only that, the representative for Peel, and I'm going to try and maybe calm myself down a little bit, because I'm very passionate about this. I don't like liars. I think this is where I have a problem. People that lie. Tell the truth. I mean, so here we have case managers, and I have them myself, not one credential behind her name, saying, oh no, we're denying your claim. The things that were put in reports by doctors were quoted wrong. So you're looking at the diagnosis from psychologists, and not only that, WSIB sent you to one of their own psychiatrists, right? Was it, or no, it was long-term. Did a third-party
I think
assessment.
it was long-term that sent me.
So the third-party assessment came back that said, yeah, she's never going to work again. She suffers from post-traumatic stress major depression. Like, the diagnosis was very clear. Same as mine. The diagnosis was very clear. Supported by my psychologist, who I still see to this day.
And they're very specific that it's the work.
It's work-related. Well, of course it's work-related.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can rebut anything. It's to have the facts to back it up. So when Kimberly was in this appeal, okay, this little lawyer tore her apart in the closing argument. So Kimberly was sexually harassed. She has the letters. She has the cards. She has
I had everything
to prove it. So when Kimberly was giving her testimony, not once did Peel Regional's representative say, you know, Kimberly, I don't believe you. Can you prove it?
Yeah.
And Kimberly could have read all this out.
I had everything.
Sexual harassment for Kimberly started very early in her career. And you know what? It went on. It went through the fact that she also was told, they said that Kimberly at one point had to sign an NDA. We can't discuss the details of the NDA. But it was brought up in her appeal that the NDA wasn't factual. I mean, they just basically they just made her sign an NDA and said, you know,
and this is my
didn't
appeal.
happen.
This
So,
is the decision.
It says the worker felt discriminated against in the workplace and made a claim to the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal, where they raised complaints of workplace and sexual harassment which were settled without adjudication. Well, I'm sorry, if you settle something, in my opinion, it's been adjudicated and the individual is guilty. The worker was subjugated to a fitness assessment and temporary suspension in early 2010 to address concerns of paranoia and delusion. Are you freaking kidding me? She was never, ever diagnosed as paranoid or delusional. When they didn't like that outcome, the psychiatrist, says...
They went from a psychiatrist to a psychologist.
Yes, the psychiatrist and psychologist who assessed the worker in 2011 at the request of the employer did not find the worker to be paranoid, nor that the claims of harassment were delusional. So at first when the psychiatrist said that, they said, ooh, well, we're going to try and send her to a psychologist.
Well, no. They sent me to the psychiatrist. Then when the psychiatrist sent them the decision,
they didn't like it.
They didn't like it. So they actually sent me back to the psychiatrist. They wanted him to reassess me. And the psychiatrist says to me, he says, why are you back here? And I said, well, the service wants the answers they want. And he says, he was actually pretty angry. I'll never forget that. And I'm not going to use his name, but I have all the reports still. And he says, I've been doing this 34 years. He says, who's to tell me how to do my job? 34 years. So then, instead of taking his decision, because now he's cleared me, no medications, he's done what the services said, he sends them the decision a second time. Then they send me to the psychologist. And I'll let you get into that, but I remember walking to that psychologist's door and he says, why are you coming here when a psychiatrist has cleared you? And I said, the service is looking for the answers they want.
So then it says the worker's request for transfer was approved by the employer after making a complaint regarding another officer following a verbal altercation and threat of physical violence on November 19th, 2019. So that's in here, but yet you didn't suffer harassment, right?
No.
According to them.
Apparently not.
But violence, I mean, like it's right in writing, black and white. Other officers witnessed it.
And Carrie, we talked about stuff that's not even in there because it came to a point that I stopped bringing it forward because this just shows that they throw it back at me.
And when you went for your reconsiderations, we'll call them reconsiderations because there was a few, and they had mentioned about, I believe they mentioned that you didn't have witnesses and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They had talked about that. So when she went into the appeal, the worker's written statement of November 15th, 2021 submitted the names of 35 individuals who witnessed the workplace harassment and sexual harassment that they suffered. The WSIB, so They at first are saying we need witnesses. She gives them 35 witnesses. They're too lazy to do the job. And it says the WSIB instead accepted the employer's much briefer response, which did not provide corroborating documents. I can't believe that anybody would think the workplace is going to admit that all of this happened, because then they are accountable. And one thing workplaces lack is accountability for their actions.
Meanwhile, you got sergeants and ranking officers posting on social media admitting.
Yes. And it says, aside from the 2008 investigative report and an excerpt from an investigative report of the incident in November 2019, the WSIB chose not to undergo any independent investigation of the claims itself. So then how in the heck did you deny her claim? If you did nothing to investigate anything, and you're just taking the employer's word, that you deny her claim. So we all know that this claim should be approved. Psychiatrists know this claim should have been approved. Psychologists know.
Well, I've had psychologists sit there and say to me,
you look on first responder websites, how many times WSIB will deny a claim. And now you're making 60% of your wage, and you gotta fight for your right to WSIB. You earned the right to be on WSIB.
Yeah.
You earn your right to have your loss of earnings. So you were put through hell. And during this appeal, not once did the representative ask you for evidence, but boy oh boy, she couldn't wait to tear a hole off you.
Yeah.
When she rebutted. I remember the state that you were in after this. I was beyond devastated for my friend Kimberly. I could not, and to this day, knowing what I went through for 6 years with WSIB, I still held out hope that, this appeal, I thought for sure the appeals officer was going to finally give her right to WSIB, was going to approve this claim. And I honestly lucked out with my appeals judge, because he actually heard me when I spoke, and he listened when I spoke, and he validated me. And when that came through to me, I was in a public place and I cried. I had tears coming down my face. I was just like, oh my God. It was like when I first got my psychiatric report from Dr. Sudaby's office. And I cried because he finally heard what I was saying. Then when I met my psychologist, Trevor, and he validated me, I cried and I cried and I cried, and so when Kimberly did not get validated after having this horrific harassment, trauma experience in her workplace, I was devastated for her, and she was devastated, and I still held out hope. Now I'm dumbfounded that the results are not guilty. Not guilty, not approved. And they sided with Peel Regional Police.
But
and we all know nothing was investigated.
Well, no, and I just want to point out that even with the chief, a new chief, who I had so much hope for, even after presenting that information to the defense lawyer, I actually thought this chief was gonna, with all my accommodations, my good performance reviews and doing the right thing again and putting my neck out there and providing this defense lawyer with that chat group. That's all I did, was just let him.
Well, it was obstruction of justice by a police officer.
I thought this chief was going to be.
Well, no, it was found to be proven because the guy was. The case was dismissed. Yep. So, you did nothing wrong. You did the right thing, and you're all about doing the right thing in every aspect, as much as she can in her life, even. Which as a friend, sometimes can be a little annoying, but she does do the right thing. She's all about the right thing. She's all about justice for people. If she sees something wrong, she points it out and says, no, that's not right. So, you know, it's for me to see this isn't right. You know, 17 years, the presumption of PTSD is supposed to have happened here.
Well, he says he supports it, but then they hire a legal counsel. Well, where do you think that legal counsel is getting all the information about?
So Chief Nish, I hope you're watching this, and I just want you to know that you need to put your money where your mouth is and support your officer. And you know she's been through hell, and you know that everything she's telling you is true. So let's see what you do about it now. Where's the investigation into what's happened over the last
How do you suspend
20 years of your career?
How do you suspend one officer for her tweets, but yet allow her to
get off? You suspend her for social media.
Against the
she
service.
Gets the badge back, and then because it's against Kimberly Cataract, she's not guilty. That's how it went her whole career, because it was Kimberly, and you're trying to discredit her. You're even more trying to discredit her because you know damn well everything she said was true. Everything. And even Ottawa police knows. Where's Vern White now? Let's put that out to the audience. Where's Vern White now? How about you just look into that? You know, what's going on with Dr. Frey? The College of Physicians has found him guilty. And he is guilty.
Well, they found, so he's got to go for a hearing, which is going to be public. So look on the College of Psychologists. You'll see the decision, and that's all public.
Do we have that
Yep.
thing from the college? I want the audience to hear what the college says about Ottawa Police Service. Specifically Ottawa. I don't think they mention anybody else, but we're going to read it, what they say.
Yeah.
In the decision.
One of the things I want to point out too is that when York Police was doing the investigation, and Dr. Frey in the Zoom meeting with him, myself, and my lawyer actually said that he was kind of thrown off when I had said the two civilians were my point of contact, because he had actually said to me, even in the meeting with my lawyer, he says he brought up a name, Angela Sabodia, and he said that was his point of contact within Ottawa Police. Well, and I'm going to use her name because she wrote it in her book. Kelly Donovan actually reached out to Angela, and I'm grateful for Kelly. She's had her fight, and she's amazing, and
for sure.
Kudos to her for standing her ground too.
Go Kelly, go!
But I want to point out that Kelly actually reached out to Angela Sabodia, and again, I only say this because she wrote it in her book. And Angela Sabodia says that York Police never even contacted her. She admitted that. So, but yet Dr. Frey says that was his point of contact with Ottawa Police. So if that's the case, and she was his point of contact, and he was even thrown the video, like with my Zoom meeting with the lawyer, when I told him the two people that I had met, he's like, he's never even heard of them, because so he played that narrative right up until what kind of investigation did you really do? Because York Police, because you guys never spoke to Angela Sabodia. Well, did you take a screenshot of where they had that comment about York Regional Police? I did. I don't think I have it with me, but they actually. Well, we'll get that. We won't quote it, but. Read that. So, the particulars are. This is the decision from the college. The particulars of the allegation are as follows, and I'll put this at the end so people can actually read the whole thing. But I want to read one line in particular that the college had made. Do you want my glasses? Yeah, I might need them, please. So, again, this is on the College of Psychology. So you guys can read the entire decision, and his hearing is going to be public. So I hope that the public watches this. But number 15 says, during the material time you were aware of systematic issues within the, and they blocked it out, but I'm going to guess it's probably OPS. That's just my assumption. But
yeah, it's blocked out.
Regarding bullying and harassment, especially against junior and female officers, such as myself, the services that you provided to Mrs. as described in the foregoing paragraph serve to exacerbate and perpetuate this culture of bullying and or harassment of officers. So this is the college recognizing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was a junior officer and I was a female.
Did
so
you submit that decision to your WSIB?
I provided it to my lawyer. Yeah. So the college of psychology recognizes that Dr. Frey was aware of the systematic issues against junior officers and particularly junior officers and female officers. Well, I was both. I was a female rookie.
Yes, at the time.
Yeah.
And also another thing, when we talked about, like, I get very passionate, as you could tell. And when we talk about our workplaces, when we were talking about the vulnerability, we were talking about cumulative effects of PTSD. I remember when I was experiencing stuff, I didn't know what I was experiencing at the time. And I personally went on medication to help me cope. Not everybody likes medication. I remember not sleeping, and I mean, I laugh about this now, but at the time it wasn't funny. I was advised, Karen, like, you got to get some sleep. Like, I was not sleeping. I still don't sleep very well, and I have the same reoccurring nightmares over and over and over. So for me personally, and I'm going to get to the point of this, because this isn't about me, but I don't mind sharing. I went to take I was told, Karen, you gotta get some sleep, so you're gonna have to take a sleeping pill. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'm gonna die if I take this sleeping pill. I was very, very, like, had a panic attack, you name it. So I said to my husband, okay, I'm gonna take just a quarter, like a little bit of this sleeping pill, but make sure I don't, like, I literally thought I was gonna die. And I mean, it was a very serious thing for me. So I bought that sleeping pill, and I just made sure my husband was there, making sure I was breathing. And I, to this day, will, you know, it's very extremely difficult for me to take a medication that, and I always think I'm gonna die. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but that's just how it goes. But not everybody is gonna, even though the medication may have helped me a little bit. And I've since had to change my medications to help me with the effects of PTSD and different things. But Kimberly doesn't take medication, and they seem to sometimes want to use that against her. Not everybody has to take medication, and everybody has the right to say no. So Kimberly has got a really good psychologist who supports that. So I just want to put that out there. If medication isn't your thing and you want to try and cope without medication, you have that right. You do not. Medication doesn't determine whether or not you have PTSD. Medication doesn't determine whether or not you have cumulative PTSD. Like, just so you know, people try to cope, you know, without medication, and that's their right. They have that right. And I just want to put that out there because of some cases, and we have a letter that you did write with regards to Canada Pension Disability, and it was a great letter, and you put that forth, and you touched on that topic of medication. So I just want to put that out there, and to the lady that represented the employer in her appeal, shame on you for what you did, because you had every opportunity to ask for that evidence, and you waited to the very, very end to destroy Kimberly in closing argument, and you have no idea the effect that you had on her that day and the repercussions of what you did to a fellow female who spent 17 years in a career experiencing all kinds of harassment, bullying, sexual harassment, trauma in different aspects of her career, and the fear and the threats of violence to her throughout her career. You should be ashamed of yourself for what you did. And Chief Nish, you need to put your money where your mouth is, because you say you support your fellow police officers. You're not showing a lot of support here, and you know what Kimberly went through. You may not want to be admitting it because of the accountability and the liability that the police service may have to experience if they do admit all this. But I'd like to see you put your money where your mouth is. Prove that you support your employees. And not just with Kimberly, that goes for every single police employee who is fighting for their WSIB, who have families that are sitting at home right now while they're living in Toronto, Mississauga, trying to meet the demands of a mortgage and raising a family on 60% of their pay. Those that have suicide and left their families because they can't handle the stress of the job, the bullying, the harassment. They can't handle the fact that they're fighting a system that isn't listening to them. And our hearts go out to all first responders that are experiencing what Kimberly has experienced. And we really would like you to reach out. We will post an email that you can reach out at and tell us your story. And if we can have a number of people that want to talk to us, that want to air it, we'll definitely do another documentary. We'll have you here talking about your story. We'll support you through this, and we'll support you through anything, day or night. Please feel free to reach out to us. And I think that's all I have for now.
I did find, Karen, the thing about the York Regional Police Officer charged with fabricating evidence, obstructing justice, and it goes on to list a bunch of cases within police. I want to let you know that
it also says this is what it's. Yeah.
And this was it doesn't have a date, but it was recent, so probably I'm gonna guess 2022. I want to let you know that I was never, if anything, I was an excellent officer. Did my best, even awards. Fighting the harassment, fighting the awards. Even as a child, I'd never been in trouble with the law, like nothing. So, but yet you got stuff that's happening and making the service look bad. This is the Twitter account. I'm gonna have the, we're gonna put this at the end. Again, I ask anybody that can help identify this Twitter account, even another police officer. Like, I know there's officers out there that stand behind the oath that they took. I'm pretty much begging the public, someone to help identify this account, because this Vantage Point account says, we accept and share publicly any information relevant to shining a light on political corruption. Send us your Vantage Point. All DMs are considered public. Vantage Point. That's their Twitter handle. I think that's what you call it.
Yeah, I guess so. On X now. It's on X, formerly known as Twitter.
No, formerly, but that's not the case, Carrie Ann, because they're allowing me to take the fall for their identity.
Yeah. I actually, we're driving this, heading on, but there's one post I want Kimberly to read, and that will be the end of our, that'll sum up our documentary. Can you read the Facebook post that you put out yesterday?
Oh yes, I'm gonna put that on the
I know, but I want you to read it. I want to read it, and then we're just gonna. I think it needs to be read because wow, does it hit home? Because it's something that we resonated with, especially Kimberly, for me.
Not every woman gets to tell her story. Some never make it out. Some never make it out. That's why I speak, because silence has buried too many.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We're back with our second half of our documentary. So we left off, we discussed Ottawa Police, Dr. Frey, her time at Peel Regional, and now we are going to be talking about the warrant. I don't believe we got into that last time too much. So we left off with her talking to a staff sergeant from Ottawa who gave you a USB, and what it contained. And now we're going to talk about a warrant that was done because you had notified someone that was part of a girls group, and we think that that's what they were after when they conducted the warrant. We talked about Vantage Point, or we are going to be talking about the account Vantage Point on X. So we're going to get through all of this, and then we're going to see where we end up, and we're also then going to start talking about her battle with WSIB and everything else.
Yeah, so I want to clarify one thing, Marianne. The USB that was provided to me was, if you go back to Ottawa, when I had said that I had approached a staff sergeant in the locker room who witnessed my locker open and who's the one that made sure nobody else was in there, and she says to me, she says, I don't know why they're doing this to you. And then she's the one that directed me to go to my staff sergeant, who also brought in the inspector at the time. Okay? So you're jumping ahead now. We've told my story up until now, and she actually reached out to me when my story went national,
Which was in 2021.
Yep, and I'm actually going to read the text that she sent me, because I think it's important, because I want to make sure that I get everything bang on, okay? Because we've been directed not to say anything that we can't prove. So I think it's, so when she originally reached out to me and she said, Kim, it's so-and-so, and she gave her name. I'd love to talk to you, so much in common, and your story matches mine. She gave me her number, and she had told me what police service she was with now, because she had retired and went to, and she says hugs. So I actually contacted my lawyer and told her who had reached out to me, and I reached out to her eventually, and we ended up getting together a couple times. And at this point now, she was going through similar to what I was going through, and when I say that, she had uncovered some stuff within the service that was concerning to her. And she was an inspector at this time now. So she had jumped a rank, because when I had been hired and she was part of my hiring process, and when I had confronted her, she was a staff sergeant. So she reached out to me, we got together, and she showed me some of the stuff she had uncovered. She actually gave me a USB filled with all the emails to the chief, pictures, letters of concern she had written. And remember, when I was going through this, I was a rookie. Imagine what an inspector who has the experience can put together. So this USB was quite filled with everything. Letters of concern, what she had uncovered. She had told me to what extent she had gone to. And she too had went to the same levels that I had went to. Like, you go to all the management group, everything. So she gives me a copy of this letter.
The USB.
The USB, sorry, with all the letters in it, yes.
The evidence.
And so we had talked often, and then as much as we can. And finally in 2022, January, one of the letters from the USB had leaked out to Twitter. It was actually the letter, one of the letters to the chief at the time.
And who was the chief at the time?
Peter Slowly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that letter had leaked out to Twitter, and she calls me frantically. And I'm not too sure why I did it, but I recorded the conversation at this time. And we talked because one of the superintendents had reached her, contacted her, and it's all on the recording. I'm not saying anything that I can't make out. She calls me and she says the superintendent, she names the name of the superintendent.
And who was the superintendent, can you say?
I'm not going to say right now.
Okay.
Because I don't want want to name things right now.
Name people.
Yeah, I don't want to name people, but
Not too many.
she says it in the conversation, the recording. She says, "Is Superintendent so-and-so have reached out to me and they want to know who I gave the USB to." So she's kind of worried and at this point, because they're not concerned about the emails and the pictures and everything that this USB
It's who has
contains.
the USB.
It's who has the USB. And keep in mind, at this same time, my story has already went national. The doctor's being investigated. There's already so much going on, and now she's calling me frantically because they want to know who has the USB. And again, I repeat, not anything that's in the USB. That's very concerning, especially to the public and the image of the police service. Who has it? So she gives me a heads up, and we talk a little bit about my harassment that I had faced. And in this recording, in this conversation that's recorded, she says, we talk about the harassment, and she says, the harassment you faced is some of the worst I've seen in 30 years of my policing. It's all on recording, and she admits it. But at the time, she does nothing. When I had went back, approached her in 2007. But now, because that's usually when people start coming forward, is when they become a victim or they become a target. I'm not going to use the word victim because I don't really like that word, but when they become a target.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I think target is the right
Yeah.
choice.
So she gives me the heads up. I don't hear from her much after that, actually. And at the same time in January, a Twitter account had reached out to me. So I want to address something. I know some individuals, and however you want to do your social media and everything, that's up to you. But I know some people are vulgar on social media, and express their anger, everything. That's never been me. Not even throughout my life. I don't go on social media a lot. I'm not vulgar. But I found it really weird because in January 2022, this Twitter account reaches out to me through the Twitter account messaging system, and they introduce themselves as Vantage Point. I don't know who they are. I gotta get rid of that word. I say that a lot because I'm just trying to get my story. So they reach out to me and they tell me about a current case that's going on. And I don't know how they knew, but they were aware of my case and the law firm I was under. Probably when my story went public and Peter Browdy had spoken on the thing, they kind of put two and two together. So they tell me about a case that's going on with an individual who I went to OPC with, Ontario Police College, in 2006. And I'm like, yeah, I know that person, but I don't talk to them. I never hung around with them in OPC, and I never hung around with them after I left. Actually, I didn't really talk to anybody from Ottawa when I had left. So,
did you ever work with this individual on the same platoon?
Never. And we were actually in separate divisions too, so I never spoke to him, just in passing.
So you just kind of knew his name, basically.
Yeah, because we were in the same OPC class, so you talk to people because you know them, but not, we never hung around in OPC. None of that. You have your little group, and so the more I talk to this Twitter, but they're not identifying who they are at all. But now I'm kind of interested in the case a little bit. So I don't really watch the case, the hearing, because but I started there's a girls group that I belong to that I started paying attention to it a little bit more because I had muted it, right? And so I knew the person. But then I'm realizing that in this girls group that there was a possibility, because the court case was in sections, and the more that I tried to talk to this Twitter account, I'm realizing that they might be obstructing justice because they were coaching the girl, because
the alleged victim.
Yeah, the alleged victim with the Zoom meeting. So I wanted no part of that. I want no part of breaking the law if I'm trying to fight for justice, if that makes any sense. So I actually sent my lawyer an email, and I'm glad I I'm gonna kind of stop here for a second. One thing I highly suggest anybody going through anything, do a lot through emails and everything, because you're not believed. But that way, at least it gives you some kind of opportunity to prove that you're telling the truth, right?
Creates a paper trail.
Creates a paper trail. So I reached out to my lawyer and I said, I don't know a lot about this case. However, I think, because I hadn't been watching it a lot, I think they're obstructing justice and I wanted no part of that. None. And she asked me at the time, do you know who this Twitter account is? So I actually sent this Twitter account a message and I'm like, I tried asking them a couple times, like, who are you, right? Because they knew a lot about this case. I hadn't followed them on Twitter, but I started following them, right? And, but they wouldn't tell me their name. They went under the name Vantage Point. So I said they won't tell me, but then the lawyer, the person, the accused, the so-called accused in this case, was under the same law firm. So I said, I'm not sure, I don't know a lot about this case. However, so the lawyer for this individual had contacted me and said, do you mind coming into the office and letting me see this chat group? And I said, sure, like, because I couldn't speak on behalf of this case. I didn't know a lot about it. So I went in, and of course I was right, they were obstructing justice. He asked if he could take a video of my phone and the chat group message, and I said, sure. Like, again, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm not gonna, I don't even know what to say. I just was doing the right thing. So he takes the video and then he uses this video of this chat group in the case. And all of a sudden the whole chat group blew up, and finally they put two and two together, who had provided this lawyer with the information. But
and then when and also in this chat group, long before this, you had tried to exit the chat group at that point too, and people kept bringing you back into it, right?
Yeah, I had exited it a couple times, twice I think.
So then you ended up muting
if not
it.
more. So that's why I had muted it, because I just I didn't agree with some of the behavior of
members.
And like I said, how you want to act on social media is totally up to you, but that's just not my way of dealing with this. I'm not going to act worse than what my abusers are doing. If that, like, you know, I can't go on social media and swear and call people names and everything and then fight the system. So I just didn't agree with it. That's why I had muted it. I didn't talk a lot in it. Very, very minimal, if any.
But you did have one good person that you thought was a good friend in that group that you spoke to daily.
Yes, there
Not
was,
like outside of the group.
Yes, we had spoken one-on-one daily. Like,
And we'll get to that as well.
yes, I spoke to her often, like daily. Like,
Well,
I
I've
really liked
I've
her.
seen videos of your
Yes.
conversations with her, and
The text
like
messages. and
the videos of Kona that you would send.
Yes.
And you called her aunt.
I actually had went to Thunder Bay to meet her. Like,
Yeah.
drove
So
so I really liked her, and I thought she was genuine. And I'm not gonna say she's not genuine. People go through things, and
I think a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll not get too off topic, but a lot of times people do things for reasoning such as self-preservation.
yes,
So when you're going through that storm and you're riding those waves and you're, you know, going through a
Yes.
lot of turmoil, sometimes you don't want to add to that.
Yes.
So you kind of gracefully try to bow out of problems that you don't want any part of because your life is already upside down.
yes. And
So-
and you're absolutely right, Marianne. Like, I get it, right? So when the group had realized that it was me, well, I got exited, and apparently
You got booted.
I got booted.
You were thrown off that island pretty fast.
Yes, and so her and I, the individual who I was speaking to on the side, we spoke a lot. And when that Vantage Point account actually reached out to me, her and I started discussing, because we started watching this Twitter account, because again, I wouldn't have
The balls.
the balls. I was trying to think of another. I wouldn't have the balls to be disrespectful to chiefs and mayors and stuff like that on social media. I just wouldn't have the balls. So her and I used to converse a lot, and like even the thing with like our conversation showed like who is this account, right? So when that happened and I got booted from the group, messages started happening from girls in the group, accusing us that we were Vantage Point. Both of us.
Accusing you and her.
Yes. And then they started sending messages directly to her, and I'm like, so at one point I should have brought it in, but we'll get to the evidence soon enough. So the messages had gone so bad, and I had notified the lawyers, and then the posts started happening to Twitter about me, calling me
a sexual predator like her,
and using my full name.
What was it? We'll get to that. We'll get a little bit more quotey.
Yeah, so we'll show some of the messages, and so finally it was so bad that on April 9th I had actually contacted my inspector with Peel Regional Police in IA. And I had told them that they're sending me messages now and sending this girl, who's another officer at another service, messages saying that they ran analytics. I have everything. Analytics. And the Twitter account came back to me. Well, if anybody knows me and it watches my social media, well, now I'm in panic mode. First of all, because you're telling me that you've ran analytics, I'm thinking in my head that somebody's created a Twitter account in my name.
That you're being set up.
Yeah.
Basically, you go right to, I'm being set up, oh shit.
Yeah, so I reached out to my inspector in IA because I knew him. And he knows my social media background. Like, that I'm not good with social media. So I'm contacting him April 9th. I have everything still. And I said, like, what do I do? And I'm talking to him on the phone, and I've actually agreed at this point, April 9th, to come into the service. We'll make a date. I'm going to contact my lawyer. We'll come into Peel Regional Police, and I'm going to voluntarily
give you my phone.
Hand you my phone. I had a laptop, but I never used it, so it didn't. But you can have everything. And I said I don't even have my social media on my laptop because I never used it. So as I'm talking to him, I'm actually walking into Sarnia Police to report this because I don't want somebody to be using my name with a Twitter account and I don't know. But I want to be clear here. From what I've seen on social media, this Twitter account wasn't doing anything criminal and nothing worse than what some other officers have done.
I've seen other
like they weren't swearing, but they weren't doing anything. They were just calling out the corruption from what I see. But I've seen other officers swear and call chiefs names and like effing bastards and all kinds of stuff. But yet you're worried about a Twitter account that's doing nothing criminal? So I go into Sarnia Police actually, and I hand the officer at the front desk my cell phone. I'm like, here, I tried asking, and like they're going through the messages with me in this Twitter account, and I said I tried finding out who they are because my lawyer was interested in knowing. He brings my phone to Staff Sergeant. I have nothing to hide because my cell phone is the only thing I ever use for social media. They're going through my cell phone, like they're actually observing the conversation between me and this Vantage Point, trying to find out who they are and stuff like that. And I asked them several times who they were, and nothing. So, and keep in mind, as I'm walking into Sarnia Police, I'm still talking to my inspector with IA, offering to bring my stuff in, but I want to get a police report started because if somebody is using my identity under a Twitter account that's not mine, that needs to be addressed. So the officer observes everything. I said to him, I said, you might want to make a report about this, that you went through my phone, you've observed me trying to ask who they were. But the thing is when I started asking them who they were, was back in January when they first reached out to me. And then when I spoke to my lawyer, I kept asking them again. So I leave Sarnia Police. I was there for over an hour. I actually email the inspector back. I tell him that I filed a police report with Sarnia Police. And now I've looped in my lawyer, and we've confirmed a date of April 27th at 2 p.m. to meet with them, and I was going to voluntarily turn everything over. So,
and you're only doing this because they and we know that they were not honest with doing analytics, because and we also, after a bunch of digging, know that it's pretty easy to find out who somebody is.
yeah.
So you're doing all this voluntarily because now, like, after all the years of harassment you've gone through, you're like fighting now, like, this is the truth. Like, I'm so sick of this. So I'm just gonna waltz in there, and here, you can have everything and go through it.
I have nothing to hide. And on top of that, what panicked me the most is computers, because again,
Well, you're not very knowledgeable with the technically knowledgeable with computers. I mean, you can do the basics. You can turn it on. You can do your banking on your phone. Like, you can do the basics, but you're not savvy enough to do any digging and research. I mean,
but once you use the word analytics, well, I don't know.
No, and your fight for truth and your fight for justice has led you on this path.
Yeah. So we've got the date of April 27th confirmed at 2 p.m. My lawyer is going to come from Toronto. We're going to go to Kill Police Office IA, and I'm going to voluntarily turn everything over. Like, so in the process, so after April 9th, my association rep calls me, and one of the girls from this girls group, who was a staff sergeant in Ottawa Police, she was part of this girls group, and who was sharing information within this group, like emails within the service, like within Ottawa Police Service, stuff that could have got her in trouble. And someone who I didn't speak to, I spoke to on one occasion, and I'll tell you about the time I met with her once. Contacts my service and wants a well-being check done on me.
A wellness check.
Yes, and my association rep kind of intervened, because he knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to discredit me, because now if something's done where, like, this conversation gets noted, you're going to get in a lot of trouble, because you were sharing stuff as a staff sergeant into this group, knocking and degrading your police service that you're a staff sergeant at. So if you notice the concern within the service, and you notice there's a problem, and you're sharing it within this girls group, well, of course you're going to try to discredit me now before you get into trouble.
Also, I think leading up to when we talk about the warrant, I think also the wellness check is to kind of sort of find out if you're still working or if you're off.
Yeah, I don't know, and so my association rep actually intervened. And he knew what she was trying to do. He knew she was trying to discredit me. And he says, I speak to her regularly. She's fine, but thanks for the call. And immediately sends an email to my lawyer letting him know what she's done. So now I'm facing with them calling me all kinds of names on Twitter using my full name. Now I got them calling my service to do wellness checks. And I want to jump ahead here, because the only time I had met with that individual was in October of 2021. I met with her and Judy Trin at a breakfast place in Barhaven. Judy Trin was the CBC reporter at the time, and I still have the text messages. We met at 10 o'clock, and I had told her about the USB that was provided to me that could be possibly linked to organized crime, and it wasn't me reporting it, it was the inspector reporting it. And
this is key.
Yes, this is very key. So I don't give them the USB, but I let them know that I could get them a copy, but this is some serious stuff if this inspector is making accusations. So that one happened in October of 2021.
Well, and we know it's not accusations because the inspector, let's be
Yes.
honest here, did her own investigations,
Oh, yeah.
right? So, and she provided you with all of that work on this USB. And we're definitely not going into detail about what was on the USB.
But it's some serious stuff.
But it's not Mickey Mouse stuff. Let's just put it that way.
It's possibly linked to organized crime. Let's be honest here.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But
But
again,
again, it wasn't investigated.
and we didn't investigate it. So we're
Correct.
not going to get into too much detail about it, but we do have the USB. And to be clear, we have very many USBs stashed everywhere. So
Yeah, we made, after the warrant was done on my house, we made several copies. So
yes.
So actually, I also want to address that when that email from one of the emails from the USB had leaked to Twitter in January, the individual who it leaked to had called me and told me that an inspector from Ottawa had contacted this individual and says, "How did you get that? They were trying to bury that." And I have the inspector's name too. So if you look at the circle and you have an active inspector who's admitting that they're trying to bury that, what does a rookie have to stand? Like, we're just a plain old constable when you got higher ups that are involved. So after the staff sergeant contacts my service, and my association rep immediately emails my lawyer and lets him know what's going on. So now you've got the Twitter post using my full name. Now you got the girls trying to discredit me by calling and doing wellness checks, because that's very famous for police, is they go to the crazy route all the time.
And they had been doing that to you for years anyways,
Yes.
referencing you as paranoid and delusional. So the report basically from Dr. Freud followed you throughout your whole career. Meanwhile,
Yes.
all your actions proved otherwise.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. There was never any concern
about that.
throughout the years as long as I kept my mouth shut
Mhm.
and I wasn't complaining about anything. So I have the emails now. We've confirmed the date of April 27th, 2 p.m. for my lawyer and I to attend Peel Regional Police IA and voluntarily turn over everything. And they would have seen the messages, the conversations between me and my lawyer, or me and that Vantage Point account. You would have seen the text messages between me and that other female officer where I thought she was a real friend. And we're talking and we're trying to figure out who this man is. They would have seen everything. When this started happening way back when the Vantage Point had reached out to me. So you would have seen us conversing back and forth saying, so then when she's receiving messages about analytics and everything, we're getting concerned now because there's somebody setting us up. So come April 26th, and it was around 7 a.m. in the morning, I get a knock on my door. So I go open it, and it's 4 officers from Sarnia Police with a warrant. And it's for the identity of this Twitter account, basically.
It isn't doing anything illegal.
Yeah, that's not doing anything criminal. And
The USB.
yeah, so in this warrant contained any electronics in my possession and any USBs in my possession. And I have since talked to many, both computer experts, other officers with 30 plus years on. I have a good friend that works at another service south, and he's been in intel and drugs and stuff, and he's done many warrants in his career, and he's like, how in the heck would they have gotten a warrant over a Twitter account? So what I'm trying to say to you is, any officer or any individual, lawyer, officers, anything, computer experts who know anything about computers, what does USBs have to do with Twitter, first of all? And secondly, what you've got people...
Why would you conduct a warrant on a Twitter account that's A, public, and B, not doing anything criminal?
Yeah. And yet police can do major investigations into drug, child porn rings, all kinds of stuff, but yet you can't get the identity of this Twitter account? I think I've put more effort in the last 2 years trying to get the identity of this Twitter account, even you.
Yeah, getting somebody to do it for us, because neither one of us are that savvy with computers.
I have talked to people who work in policing, law enforcement agencies. I have tried everything. My lawyer has reached out to Twitter trying to identify this Twitter account. I'm not this Twitter account, and if anybody, I'm begging the public, if anybody can help identify this Twitter account, it would be greatly appreciated, because I'm not this Twitter account. I don't know who it is, and I've talked to people who said it would be very easy for the police to get it, and also other police have said that they're not even sure how they obtained this warrant.
Yes, and then not only that, they sealed this warrant. We're not sure how they...
Yeah, you're sealing a warrant.
Why?
Yeah. So you not only, so I get a call advising that they're out for this USB. All kinds of things have happened in between. And I had even, so this is one of the things that's important. So I had actually reached out to my lawyer. And I said, if you can talk to, because this female that I spoke to every day, and our conversations showed that we were trying to figure out who this account was. Maybe like her messages, because she was being accused of being this Twitter account too, but there was never a warrant done on her house.
It's because she didn't have the USB.
That's what
that's the conclusion we've drawn.
So they never got the USB because it was in my lawyer's possession. There has been many copies made. The media was notified about the warrant because there was actually 3 warrants done.
Yeah, yours wasn't the only one.
Yeah, so there was 3 warrants done. Me and 2 other officers. One I think was...
And they were conducted very differently too. Yours was a knock on the door.
I was a knock on the door. So I would highly... And we actually reached out to the media too about this in Ottawa. And we said, you need to do a story about this, because why were the warrants done so differently?
For over the same thing.
Over the same thing. It's pretty interesting. And to me, this is the stuff the public needs to know. And I had received the media guy and I had conversed quite back and forth, and he had spoken to my lawyer, and again, I'm not friends with these 2 officers, so I don't talk to them regularly. However, it's of interest because I'm a white female. I had a door knock. I think it's in the public interest to find out how the other warrants were done. So the media guy actually had written me back, and he emailed me and said, the story should be aired next week. Like, he had spoken to my lawyer. I'm not sure if he spoke to the other 2 guys. Like I said, I don't. But then all of a sudden, the story got a kibosh. There was never any media exposure on this.
Yeah.
But
I mean, let it be known too. Like, the warrant conducted on the 2 fellas' house was used. Like,
there was, it was very different.
Doors bashed. Kids and families were traumatized over how they conducted this warrant.
Yeah. And I don't want to speak on
for them,
but there was different color skin.
Yeah, they were dark.
Yeah. And so why were the warrants conducted so differently when...
So basically, it could have been discrimination.
Yeah.
You being a female, them being males.
It could be almost anything.
Them being males of color, you being a white female. I mean, it could be anything. Yeah. It should never have been conducted, period.
No.
But it was. And again, there's no media on that. And when you tried to talk to that reporter in Ottawa, he was gung-ho about doing the story. I remember.
Well, he had sent me an email.
And he spoke on the phone and everything. And then all of a sudden, the story gets kiboshed. So, I mean, a lot of things that have happened are... kind of like, it's like a movie almost, you know. I only see this on TV, but it's been real life and it's been quite a ride.
and it's being kept as
hush
hush, like,
and then you're the nut bar.
no
basically.
media attention to this.
Can
Yeah.
I say that on TV? I mean, can we even say the word dark? We may have to edit that word.
But it's just basically what we're saying is the warrants were conducted very differently, and I think that's what meet the public interest.
Well, I think it is the public should be aware of how police in these departments that we've talked about, and again, we're not blanketing every police department or every police officer, let's be clear, how they've conducted themselves. And these individuals are what need to be held accountable for how they've been conducting themselves. And when you talk about a police chief that has been shown all the evidence on this USB and has not done a thing about it, that raises a lot of questions. And I mean, that's when you're getting into integrity, character. What else are they hiding? You know, when officers are coming forward with blatant evidence and nothing's being done. Well, they do get promoted though. Didn't a couple of them in this get promoted?
Yes. So, and that's the kind of thing that I want to address, because we're going to actually bring in some of the directives within the workplace about harassment and everything, because I actually filed a complaint with Peel Police too, because a couple of the individuals that were posting stuff socially using my full name and just discrediting me.
And there's a statement of claim on that.
Yes, and the statement of claim is public. Yeah. So
by all means, go get it.
Please get a copy of it and read it, because all the screenshots from the Twitter account and everything are on there. So it actually, a statement of claim, a lawsuit has been filed. Again, I'm going to speak on my behalf. I know that there's been a couple lawsuits, but I'm going to speak on my behalf. But before the lawsuit as well, a complaint was filed with Peel Police.
Oh, like OPIRD or something?
No, it was actually internally.
Oh, first.
Internally, and I can say this because one of the individuals who was a sergeant was posting stuff about me, and she had actually was on suspension for her social media behavior, and I know this because she actually posted it on social media admitting that she was on suspension for her social media. And so Peel Police did an investigation and cleared her. Meanwhile, you got directives, workplace harassment directives. She's already on suspension for her social media behavior. It's blatant because it's her name posting the comments about me using my full name. And even I remember my association rep, when they cleared her, he was pretty upset because he's been amazing. And he says, people have been charged under the Police Service Act for a lot less than what's being done to me. But yet again, none of this is being made public. So as long as it's not made public, it can be buried.
And the Police Service Act speaks to social media and the conduct of an officer on duty and off duty. So when we look into the Police Service Act, and I have copies of them here somewhere.
We even have
paper.
We even have copies of the workplace policies about harassment and everything, and yet she was cleared. Yeah. And it's actually mind blowing, and the media won't touch this, which is pretty important because this affects them too in some ways.
It sounds like I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I mean, I have no evidence to suggest this, but when you look at drawing your own conclusions, for me, it sounds like the minute they add credence to one of your complaints or side with you, then it's going to ruin everything you've done up until that point. So if we finally, do what's right and recognize that she's being truthful, is that going to the discredit we've been trying to put on you is going to just go away, and they're trying to make you sound paranoid, and they're trying to make you sound crazy, and they're also doing their damnedest to discredit you.
Oh yeah.
And they've been doing it, and they're still doing it to this day, because even after the warrant, when they took your phone and everything, it took 3 years to get 2 years to get it all back. And I mean, there was never charges laid. And when you did get your phone back. What was missing on that?
So when I got my phone back, well, I want to explain to the public too. If you seize property on a warrant, you have 3 months with it. And if not, you have to apply to the courts for return to justice to get extensions on keeping this stuff. So, but the services aren't proving any of this. Like the lawyers are fighting. So do you not have to show that you've done return to justices, especially after keeping it a year? So they kept it for 2 years. So after a year, I think they have to get even special permission. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done a lot of warrants. But has any of this been done? Because they're fighting us tooth and nail and not showing anything. And again, when the media sits there and says they're going to do a story and the story's done, it's going to be out next week, and then all of a sudden it gets kiboshed. What's happening behind the scenes? You got to wonder, right?
Yeah, you do.
So when I got my stuff back after 2 years, and I want to be clear here, there was actually people reaching out to me. And I actually had a cousin of one of the involved ranking individuals, and I don't want to throw this person under the bus just for safety reasons. So, addressing how even she feared this individual, and he was a ranking officer. So what I'm saying is, when they did my warrant, they would have seen all the conversations. They had it for 2 years.
If they even opened your phone, but
Yeah.
we know they did.
They did, because the only thing that was missing out of my phone, because I talk about my phone because that's the only place I use social media, was the conversation, the full conversation between me and this Vantage Point account. So had they seen it, even back in January when this account first reached out to me, they would have seen that I kept asking who they were, and they would have seen the conversations between me and the other girl where we were talking about when this account first reached out to me. I let her know we were talking, and so they would have seen all that. But that was the only thing missing, was the thread of conversation between me and this Twitter account. However, lucky for me, when they did the warrant, I raced to the Apple store in London, got a new phone, logged back in, and began taking screenshots of as much as I could. So, and the Vantage Point account, because it was mentioned in the warrant, was my first thing. So I logged in and was taking screenshots as much as I could. And I also want to jump back again. I know we're getting a little confusing here, but when I had reached out, after they did the warrant, I had my lawyer, I said, well, reach out to this female's lawyers and ask to see the text, because we used to converse back and forth about...
And this is someone, again, that we had talked about earlier, being a friend of Kimberly's, and this female and her talked all the time, not just in a chat group. They didn't even use the chat groups, via text. And I mean, I've seen some of the videos with Kona Bear, and her referencing this female as auntie. So there was definitely a friendship.
Definitely.
So when it came time to help Kimberly out, apparently all of a sudden she didn't have those texts anymore, and she
actually sent me a text message because she was mad at me for my lawyer reaching out to her lawyer, but it wasn't meant to...
No, you're asking for help. But
yeah,
your phone was just taken. You needed text messages to prove you're not this Vantage Point account. And why wasn't a warrant conducted on her house?
Yeah,
if
because
they were truly going after Vantage Point, and they did think it was her as well, why was the warrant not done on her house?
Yeah, because we were both, her and I,
were both
getting text messages from this girls group accusing both of us about being this Vantage Point account. The analytics came back to her and I.
Yeah.
So why
there's
wasn't
a lot
there
of questions?
And I'm just going to make it known that I took screenshots of everything, the conversation, the thread, because now people start deleting stuff. And we use the Signal app a lot. So with the Signal app, people can set the messages to delete after 5 minutes, or delete after an hour, or delete after 24 hours. So when that happened and she got angry with me because my lawyer had reached out to her lawyer just to get those messages to prove that I wasn't. Like, I was kind enough to call her the morning of the warrant to say, hey, they just did a warrant on my house, because I knew that she was being also accused. So, hey, a heads up, you're probably going to have a warrant done on your house. But there was never a warrant done on her house. But yet, the messages from these girls, even from her, she used to send screenshots to me where she was being accused too. So why was there never a warrant? But yet, in the same breath, and again, it goes back to, I understand people self-preserve, but these individuals are calling themselves whistleblowers. So if you're a whistleblower, maybe I'm wrong, but are you a whistleblower only for yourself, or are you trying to make a change in the system? Because you're sitting back
with evidence that can help you.
Yeah, and I had even sent
A
another
supposed threat.
Yes. I had actually sent another message to her. I'm glad I took a screenshot of that as well. And I said, please, can you give me these text messages? It's not going to prove anything, but it'll prove something, right? Like, it's just anything will help to show that I don't know who this account was. And her response was to me that she had deleted the messages.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I saved them. I actually took screenshots of the whole conversation. But we'll get to that at some point. Maybe we'll have another video where we show all the evidence.
Well, we can show most of it. We're not gonna play all our cards.
No.
We're definitely not gonna be discussing anymore to do with that USB.
No.
That's it. Definitely not gonna discuss that.
But I do want to let you know, for the USB, the media person that was actually going to do the story, I had offered a copy of that USB to say, you know what, here it is. You make up your own mind. But then all of a sudden, the story got kiboshed, and it was.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You gotta wonder what's going on. So again, I asked before we move on, anybody in the public, and I know any officers watching this, any help in identifying this Twitter account would be greatly appreciated. It's Vantage Point.
We'll show you.
We'll put a screenshot at the end, and any help.
It's even interesting because you can still go on Twitter and read a lot of Vantage Point's posts, or you could. I did, anyways. On X.
Well, they had actually put a post up after the warrant. So they were taunting Ottawa police, obviously, and they had put a post up after the 3 warrants were done on the houses, thanking Ottawa police. I'll have to look for it and I'll put it up. I'll put a screenshot at the end of this documentary because I don't. But basically thanking them for doing 3 separate warrants in attempts to identify them. So whoever this account is,
they kind of knew. They knew a lot of stuff. But another thing too, I never really asked you, and I'm kind of curious, why did they do? Where did the other 2 come into this? Because it's so far everything's pointing at you and the other female, but where did these 2 guys come into it?
I'm not sure.
So how come a warrant would have been conducted on their house?
Yeah, when it was the other female and I that were being accused. So I don't know. I don't speak to them.
And we haven't got the warrant. The lawyers are working on unsealing the warrant because there's no reason for it to be sealed.
Well, no, I've actually spoken to people in law enforcement with way more experience than me on warrants.
Well, you have one of your friends at one point, that was their job. That's what they did in their career. They did warrants on a regular basis. She's probably done hundreds of warrants because that's what she did. And she actually talked to one of the professors that teaches about warrants, and they're both blown away that this warrant was even able to be obtained and sealed on top of that. And this individual had written a really nice detailed email, which I have, to my lawyer, explaining all the wrongs
obtaining this warrant. So it's quite interesting. So
the lengths they go to, right? Like
Yeah.
it's amazing the lengths that people have gone to, or other officers that we've discussed in this session have gone to keep you quiet.
oh yeah.
And
But if
so-
it's happening to me, you gotta wonder what's happening to the public too, and that's a
you
huge
are now
concern.
the public.
I am now
you
the
are a
public.
civilian. But yeah, what's happening in other cases? Like, I mean, the process of these warrants and the evidence discovered when conducting a warrant. I mean, is it truthful? Is it factual? Is it, you don't even know anymore. I guess. I mean, you in your case, you don't know, because why did they even, like you said, obtain the warrant? How did they even obtain the warrant? And then now it's sealed, and it's been 2 years trying to fight this to be unsealed.
It's unsealed.
And I think the other two are also fighting to get it unsealed. And it's just been roadblock after roadblock.
But if, again, like in my opinion, if you have nothing to hide, why not lay your cards out and say, like, here I am laying my cards out. I offered to voluntarily turn my stuff. Even after the warrant was conducted, I contact the inspector in IA, because he knows me well, and he knows that computers are not my. And I had said to him, like, did you know about this warrant? He says, yeah. And I said, well, why wouldn't you have put a roadblock on it or say something?
Especially because he knew
He
you were
knew.
coming in.
The very next day, like, you have, and we'll show that, like, I have emails where we had confirmed a 2:00 appointment, yet they did the warrant the day before. And I said to him, I said, why didn't you let them know that I was coming in voluntarily to give you this stuff? I showed the officer from Sarnia Police the whole context. Like, the girl, like, there's so much.
All the content.
Yeah.
Your conversations, everything.
So to leave it at the warrant, we're still fighting this. You got several law enforcement officers who have way more experience than me that are sitting there blown away that a warrant was even obtained. You've got computer experts. We went to stores trying to get this Twitter account identified. Like I said, my lawyer has reached out to Twitter trying to get the identity of this Twitter account. So if by chance, if Elon Musk watches this, I would be grateful for any help in identifying this Twitter account. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and on that note, we're going to end this on a humorous note.
Yes.
A shout out to Elon Musk and X.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, well, we'll get back with, what's going to be coming up will be more discussions. Now she's off work, and
Long-term disability.
Canada Pension Disability.
I want to be clear here. As a rookie and somebody who has no experience in complaining, you don't know who to turn to. So, it's kind of being thrown back in my face. Well, she did this and she did that. I want to say, like, I had even attended people who I spoke to with people who worked in, like, mayor's offices. And when you're getting told by these individuals who work directly side by side with a mayor, and they're seeing this stuff, and they're telling you, well, I can't do nothing. What do you want me to do? Where does somebody turn to? Because I had even reached out to one of the party leaders. We won't say whether it's conservative or liberal, but I want to read a text, okay? Because they had read my statement of claim. They had observed some of the messages. I showed them the email after the officers were cleared, even posting this stuff. And this individual has said to me, sends me a text, and this is a high-ranking party leader.
Well, it's a party leader.
Yeah.
Can you, what text, is that the very first conversation?
Yeah, so this is after reading my statement of claim and seeing the screenshots of what's being posted on. I've just read the document and find it very disturbing and concerning. And then this individual goes on.
Keep reading.
Well, I don't want to read too much because then it'll show who wrote it or sent this to me. But then they...
I think they'll discuss revealing this individual, because I think it's important that people...
And these are party leaders.
Yeah. That people know who it is.
Who sit there and say, they're trying to make change in the public. So if you're going into mayor's offices or speaking to people who work inside mayor's offices, and you're being told, well, there's nothing I can do, or what do you want us to do? And then you reach out to party leaders who are sitting there publicly
But this
going,
party leader worked closely.
yes,
And
sends after they seen all the screenshots, they seen the statement of claim, and calls this very disturbing. And I had even asked this person, like, please, is there something we can do to identify this Twitter account? Because I don't know who it is, and I'm not. And then they had said that they were going to get back to me.
And let's be clear, we're talking a lot about this Twitter account. Really, this Twitter account is like a pebble. Like, it doesn't mean nothing. She's just been accused of being it, so she wants to know who it actually is, so she can prove it's not her. First of all, but a lot of this stuff is talking about the harassment she faced, and it's the most important part of the story is the years and years of harassment she faced, along with years and years of experiencing trauma on the police, along with trauma on the police force. And it boils down to that Kimberly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you always feel like you got to prove yourself now.
Yes.
Like, I got to prove I'm telling you the truth. And I mean, I've been friends with Kimberly. We're like
now.
sisters, and she still to this day says, "Well, Carrie Ann, like, I can prove it. Kimberly, I know you can prove it." So it's like she's constantly expressing, "I can tell you the truth. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth." And it's to the point where if you look at her funny, she's gonna say, "No, I have the truth. I know the truth. I have the evidence." So basically, what we're trying to say is, believe we have the evidence, because we do.
Well, we spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer said, like, make sure you have the proof. So we're not saying anything that I can't prove.
Exactly. And so we're talking a lot about Vantage Point the last few minutes of this documentary. Let it be clear. I mean, Vantage Point really is a little blip in the story. But because Kimberly is so worried about justice and fighting for the truth in justice, it's to let you know that it's because she's been accused of being Vantage Point. That's why we need to find out who Vantage Point is. But it's not the biggest part of the story, and we don't want people to focus on the Twitter account. So we're here to discuss harassment, post-traumatic stress, trauma, all the things related with being Kimberly since 2006, starting with Ottawa Police and the threats to her life. And even now, like, I mean, we're out here putting our necks on the line, telling Kimberly's story, and I would do it again and again and again. But just know that we don't know what's going to come after this documentary is public. We don't know if people are going to retaliate. We don't know the outcome. We don't know the danger we could be putting ourselves in, and mostly Kimberly, because this is her story. I'm just here helping her.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a cease and desist letter, because that's what they're famous for, is when people are telling the truth, a cease and desist letter. So
we're just, and you know what, we do have all the evidence, and let's be clear, the evidence isn't stored in her little house. The evidence is stored in many different places, and that's because we know that who knows if we're going to wake up to a warrant being conducted, you know, and so let's be clear, lawyers have her evidence. We have evidence everywhere. So
it's pretty sad that
we have to do this.
You talk to people, like I mentioned doing this documentary to a couple people, just at the general public.
Oh yeah, general public.
And their first response, like even this morning when I was telling an individual that I was doing it, and I said, you know, I need to get the truth out there. And they're like, you know, they're going to retaliate against you. Like, that's always seems the first response, is they're going to retaliate against you. And, you know, the police shouldn't have a reputation like that. Like,
it's not the police.
No.
The people we talked about in the documentaries who were referencing when we say the police.
Yes.
Ottawa Police Service at the time, where you had Chief Vern White. Slowly. Like, these are people that worked at Ottawa Police and then now at Peel Police. Yeah. So
But keep in mind, like even throughout my story, like I had went to different police services, like, and again, the only thing I could keep was like, you know, they always give you a little card with their name and their rank and everything on it, like, and I kept all those throughout the years. What else was I gonna do?
And the RCMP, like when we look at the RCMP, the part of the story where you talk to that female, she's ready and willing to help you.
Yeah.
As soon as she goes to her boss, her boss is like, no.
Yeah.
So, you
But
know,
the public can do their own background and look at some of the players in my
they can
story
draw their own conclusions.
and draw your own conclusions. Like you go to the RCMP, she's willing to help, but then you look at Vern White and Dr. Frey, who used to work closely with the RCMP. So again, we're not saying anything here. Just draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, and you could just follow the story, and whatever information we can give you, follow it. You'll draw your own conclusions. And on that note, we're going to say thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this documentary, and share the documentary with everybody and anybody you know.
Yes.
The more people that see it, the better it is.